Welcome back, focused learners. We've got another deep dive explainer for you today. Now, if you've ever found yourself totally stuck in a rut, just waiting for that magical spark of inspiration to hit before you finally get to work, well, you're going to want to pay close attention. The source material we're unpacking today completely shattered what I thought I knew about getting motivated. We're looking at an incredible lesson derived from an ancient Japanese fable, and it's literally going to reframe how we all look at productivity, discipline, and success.
So think about this. Can ambition actually make you weaker? We're always told to dream big, right? Set massive goals, visualize your success. But what if simply dreaming big is actually the very thing holding you back from greatness? Like, what if your ambition is secretly feeding your procrastination?
Section 1. The Lazy Samurai. Okay, let's dive right into this with a story from feudal Japan. Meet Yuki. Now, Yuki was a young samurai who dreamed of becoming the absolute greatest warrior in the land. I mean, he had massive ambitions. He'd spend hours upon hours just talking about his grand plans. He devoured stories of famous battles and spent a vast amount of his time vividly imagining himself mastering weapons, learning advanced strategies, and bringing ultimate honor to his clan. He genuinely believed that just possessing this strong ambition would naturally lead him straight to greatness. But, well, here is where the problem starts. There's a massive gap between Yuki's grand fantasies and his daily reality. On one side, we have his dreams, mastering weapons, winning glory, but on the flip side, we have his actual daily doing, making excuses, waiting for perfect weather, and entirely avoiding the hard work. When the time actually came to train, Yuki's actions just never matched his ambition, not even close. Yuki's go-to excuses were always the exact same. It was always, oh, the weather's not right today, or I'm just not feeling well today, or I need more time to plan carefully before I begin. Now, I want you to be totally honest with yourself here. Do any of these sound familiar? For the procrastinators out there, I know you might be feeling a little bit called out right now. Honestly, I know I definitely was when I first read this. Because of these constant delays, years passed. Yuki's dreams grew larger, but his actual skills remained incredibly small. Younger warriors who simply put in the daily work, they quickly surpassed him. Section 2. The Dreamer's Track. So we need to explore exactly why Yuki's approach failed so miserably. And there is a profound psychological truth behind it, which is the illusion of progress. Yuki believed his clear goals would naturally push him to act, but his whole identity as a dreamer became a trap. You see, the more Yuki spoke of his plans without acting, the more his mind actually rewarded him with dopamine. It made him feel as if he had already achieved something. He found comfort in imagining his future, rather than enduring the grueling real-world discomfort of daily practice. His very inaction became his downfall, all because his brain was tricking him into feeling successful just for planning. Which leads us to this incredibly powerful realization. His dreams had not lifted him higher. They had made him weaker. Just let that sink in for a second. Ambition without action doesn't just leave you neutral. It actively leaves you frustrated, unprepared, and ultimately full of regret. Let's break down exactly why this gap between wanting and doing is so incredibly dangerous. First, we find comfort in imagination over the very real discomfort of practice. Second, dreams without action quietly waste time, and lost time is the one resource you can literally never reclaim. Third, the larger and more massive our goals are, the easier it is to feel completely overwhelmed by the distance between where we are and where we want to be. And finally, and perhaps most dangerously, we tell ourselves that preparation is progress. In reality, over-preparation often just becomes disguised procrastination. We slowly drift further and further from the work that actually matters.
Section 3. The Way of Kaizen.
So, how did the actual masters solve this exact problem? Well, centuries ago, the legendary swordsman Miyamoto Musashi grasped a truth that sharply contrasts our modern obsession with hustle culture and waiting for sudden lightning bolt inspiration. Unlike people today who try to transform their entire lives in a single dramatic moment, Musashi devoted himself to small, steady actions. Greatness is not built in sudden bursts of energy, but through the humble, quiet rhythm of daily repetition. This brings us to an ancient concept heavily inspired by these historical masters, Kaizen Nomi. It literally translates to the way of small improvements. It's the absolute focus on steady, consistent actions performed every single day. The ancient samurai taught that you climb a mountain one single step at a time. You do not climb it by standing at the bottom, staring at the peak in your pajamas, and simply wishing you were up there.
Imagine the timeline of a lazy samurai student. On day one, he feels way too lazy to train, yet he forces himself to practice just a single tiny sword form. His friends laugh at him. They tell him this microscopic effort is completely useless. But he continues. Months later, look what happens. The movement becomes automatic. His body is stronger, his technique sharper. And looking to the future, he's built an incredibly deep foundation that allows him to learn advanced skills with total ease. Meanwhile, his friends who waited to feel motivated to do a massive epic training session, yeah, they are still at the starting line. He surpassed them all through the quiet power of compounding progress.
So we can summarize this entire philosophy with this one powerful statement. The smallest step carries greater power than the grandest plan. Even if the progress seems agonizingly slow at first, it builds into ultimate mastery for one very simple reason. It doesn't stop.
Section 4. The motivation myth. This completely dismantles our modern reliance on needing to feel ready before starting. And I absolutely love this metaphor from the source material. Waiting for motivation before beginning your work is like waiting for perfect weather before starting a long journey. If you wait for the perfect sunny day, you might wait forever. Meanwhile, the people who are willing to just put their heads down and walk in the rain, they're going to reach their destination far ahead of you. If you take away just one thing from this explainer today, let it be the true cycle of progress. Look at the order here. Number 1, action. Number 2, momentum. Number 3, motivation. We almost always think it goes motivation, then action, but that is entirely backwards. Motivation isn't the spark that creates action, it's the flame that follows it. Action brings momentum, and momentum gives rise to the energy that we mistake for inspiration.
Let's run through some really uncomfortable truths about motivation that the samurai understood perfectly. Preparation without practice is just procrastination. Talking without doing creates a neat little illusion of progress, but it leaves you entirely unchanged. Waiting for motivation means you are literally handing control of your entire future over to your fleeting daily emotions. And finally, readiness is merely an illusion born of fear and avoidance. True strength is acting despite that internal resistance.
Section 5. Commitments over feelings. Now, let's drive this explainer toward its ultimate resolution with a definitive, actionable rule to live by. Read this quote by Yagyu Munenori, one of the greatest samurai teachers in history. "The sword that waits for perfect conditions never leaves its sheath." I just want to let the sheer weight of that metaphor do the heavy lifting for a second. If you wait for the right moment, you're going to wait forever. You know, our need for motivation often comes from fear. We fear the discomfort of starting when we're tired. We fear the effort of continuing when we lack energy. But discipline isn't about avoiding the feeling of being tired or uninspired. It's about moving straight through those feelings. True strength is the ability to act when conditions are not perfect. This is the ancient warrior mantra that changes everything. I am not controlled by my feelings. I am guided by my commitments. Real power doesn't come from saying, well, I feel like doing this today. No way. Real power comes from saying, I will do this, regardless of how I feel. You shift your identity from someone who simply reacts to their mood to someone who actually honors their word.
So how do we break laziness today? Well, here is your structured takeaway. First, begin with small daily actions, even if they seem totally insignificant. Do one push-up, write one single sentence. Second, do not wait to feel ready, because readiness is a total illusion. Third, do not trust your fleeting emotions. They will absolutely lie to you just to keep you comfortable. And fourth, place your complete, absolute trust in your habits and your commitments. It's time to stop waiting and start building your foundation of achievement right now.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Will you be controlled by your feelings or guided by your commitments? The power to act without waiting for motivation is the ultimate power to shape your entire life. Thank you so much for exploring these sources with me today, focused learners. Take a mental snapshot of this, ponder your next move, and most importantly, take that first small step today. See you next time.